really love that we have airports in both Belfast and London, and I love that people in Belfast are so excited to go to London. But I do think my public transport connection to the Belfast airport could probably be a little bit better. And speaking of public transport, we have a lot of people down in Mullingar that want to go off to Castlebar, off to Dublin, down to Kilkenny, over to Galway. This central station is absolutely packed with people. And so is this road right in the middle of Dublin. There's a ton of people that want to go from here to Mullingar. And it's the same story in Castlebar. We have a ton of people that want to go from here over to Mullingar, onto the train, or over to Dublin, or wherever they might be going. And Kilkenny is pretty much the same story. We have a bunch of people here wanting to go, you guessed it, up to Mullingar. But before we deal with all of those problems, I want to come back up here to Belfast. I want to go into Upper Belfast, and I want to turn this train and airport shuttle back into a train shuttle. So what we're going to do to begin with is go in here, and we're going to get rid of 6 of these vehicles. I think that's probably fair. We're going to go down to 14 vehicles, and we're just going to change this to go back and forth from here to the train station once this auto save's done. Man, it's every time. It's every time. Let's go ahead and sell 6 of those vehicles. Let's manage the line as well. And we're getting rid of Dundalk North. We can rename it so it is not the train and airport shuttle. It is simply the train shuttle. And we'll copy that name because we are going to have to build a new shuttle out to the airport. So we'll go in here and we're going to make some modifications to this station. So we'll add a new platform over here on the right. And I want to say that's probably enough, but I know that I want to do a little something in just a little bit. So I am going to put another platform in there. And I think I want to get a building back here as well. I just think it looks good. I do. I like my buildings, man. I do. I like the buildings in here. I want to get 2 of them at the front there to bring the land down a little bit. And I'm kind of wondering, can we flatten some of this to make it look a little bit less terrible? I have my doubts because there's some buildings right up on this road, but I mean, that looks all right, doesn't it? That looks fine. We can go in there with some trees and really hide some crimes so you'd never know that there's a bunch of cliffs around that station. That seems perfectly fine, right? That'll work. Now, what we can do here is create a new line from this guy, and it's going to go out to that station over by the airport. It is not a train shuttle. It is Belfast Passengers Airport shuttle, and we'll make it that same red color that we always use. And before we get any vehicles on that line, I want to come over this way. I want to zoom out a little bit, and I want to get myself another line that's going to go from the airport to the train station, so you can get on a train in, you know, wherever. Limerick, that's the one. That's the town I was thinking of. Get on a train in Limerick, come up here, get on a bus, go to the airport, go to London. It's a thing you can now do. So this will be road passengers. It is Belfast, and we're just going to call it the airport X train link is what we'll call it. That seems fine for a little bus run to the airport. So what we'll do is go into the road depot right here. We'll get ourselves some buses, and I'm thinking for the train link, we'll do 4. And just because it's something a little bit different, let's paint them. I like this color. This is actually a very similar color to buses in Belfast as well. They're like a pink kind of color. They're not red. And I think a lot of other places in Northern Ireland, they're typically blue. I think Belfast is like the only one I can think of that has the pink, but that's just how it is. Anyway, we'll go ahead and put these on the airport link. And you know, I think any bus that goes to the airport can be that same sort of pink color. So we'll do 5 on the Belfast to airport run itself. I think that's completely fine. So the airport shuttle right there is going to have 5 buses on it. Now, I should mention that between this episode and the last one, I played about an hour of this save. I was just flying around fixing a couple of little things here and there. And in doing that, I caused some other problems. Now, this problem right here, this roundabout, this traffic jam going into Dundalk, this isn't necessarily something, well, I mean, I did, to say that I didn't cause this would be disingenuous. It's very much my own fault, but we can make this better. And the reason I know we can make this better is because if we go all the way down to this roundabout on this side of Mullingar, I've given it more lanes. So there's 3 lanes going around it. There's, 3 lanes coming in, 3 going out. It's a little bit of overkill. It definitely isn't necessary to do this, but we can go back up towards Dundalk and we can pretty much do the same thing. Now, to get this to work in the way that I want it to, what I'm going to have to do is upgrade the roundabout itself. And I'm going to pause while I do this because, yeah, that can happen. Sometimes, lines will lose their connections. But if I go in and I start doing this right here, the lines sort of reestablish their connections. And I don't think we need that much space for 6 lanes. I think we can get away with sort of short little segments like that. I think that'll be totally fine. And that should help traffic move around that roundabout just that little bit quicker. The only problem is a lot of it is tailing back into Dundalk anyway. So while they probably won't tail back towards Belfast, they will tail back into the roundabout itself because reasons, I guess. There's just a lot of people going through Dundalk. There's a lot of people coming into Dundalk. A lot of them are taking this road over this way towards our quarry as well and heading on towards Oma and Londonderry. So I think what I'd like to do is make some upgrades to the infrastructure in here as well. Now that will get rid of some buildings. That's kind of okay. It's not the end of the world. We'll make, let's see, how steep is this? It is very, is the answer. Very, very steep. Let me take out this connection here and we'll bring that back a little bit. We'll go ahead and extend this road up to about this spot. I think that'll be fine. And I think we'll do a little section of country road up there as well. And does this look okay? It's still very steep, but I think that's fine. That'll hopefully give traffic a few options for going out of Dundalk. I'm also thinking that we have this area up here that we could connect together, bring in some traffic up onto this road. Might not be the worst idea in the world to do that. I think taking out these guys as a means of doing that would be pretty good though. So we'll bring this out. We'll bring this down to here. And it's carving away some terrain. That's not really the end of the world. We can totally go ahead and smooth that out. You'd be none the wiser that I ever did anything right there. And I suppose we'll give this a little bit of time to see what happens. I have a few other ideas for how we can improve things around here. And that actually brings us a little bit further south towards this road in here, because this road it's getting a little bit busier than I would like. There's a lot of traffic that's using this road as a way to get out of Mullingar and go over to Dundalk. Some of it's going down towards Dublin as well, but not really a lot of it. And what I've realized is we have this road up here. We could connect these two guys together. We could run this road down to here just before Dundalk. We could bring it up sort of around Dundalk as well if we wanted to, and generally just have something that's, another little country road. Right? That's kind of all it needs to be. So what I'm going to do is go in here and tear out some parts of Dundalk just to, why did I tear that part out? I didn't even need to do that. I was going to connect it over here. I don't actually know why I got rid of that road. That was completely unnecessary, but you know what? It's fine. It's totally okay. Let me smooth out this terrain right here is what I want to do, because I want to bring a little stretch of road straight off of that intersection. And then my thinking is we bring this road here all the way back to whatever that is. It's a forest, right? Yeah. So we bring it back to that forest. We sort of bring it down. We connect it into here, and we also connect it down to here. So you've got some options for how you're getting into or around Dundalk, if that's, what you happen to be doing. So we'll upgrade this guy. We will bring it over to about this spot, and we'll try our best to curve it down like this. And I think that looks pretty good. As for the connection down to this guy, that's gonna be slightly trickier because I don't want it to be crazy steep. That's something I kind of like to avoid. What does this look like? That actually looks okay. Obviously, we kind of don't want the bridge in there, so we'll just build it without the bridge. And I guess we can work with that. I don't love what's going on with the terrain here, so maybe a little bit of a tweak to that might not be the worst idea in the world. We'll go ahead and sort of flatten this terrain ever so slightly just to try and, I don't know, make it look a little bit less terrible is kind of where I'm going with this. If we bring you around, or I bring you over and up to there, does that look okay? It looks better. It looks about as good as it's gonna look, I think. And then I think very simply, we just bring this road over to here. We have that little bend in it, which is totally fine. We can go in there, and of course it's autosave. Just the second, every time. The second I start talking, it's like, oh, we need to autosave. My timing is terrible. It's on me. It's me every single time. The autosaves are like every 5 or 10 minutes. I just, it is what it is. That right there, though, should be a pretty good connection from Mullingar to both Dundalk and to this main road, which is hopefully going to bring some traffic away from this road down here, which is hopefully going to mean that this guy can produce its 800 coal and deliver its 800 coal. If we look at consumers, we are moving 800 right now. You guys have a rate of 814, which is kind of fantastic. Looking over towards the iron line, it's 825, so they are doing a pretty good job as well. So hopefully that works out. Hopefully we don't run into any major traffic problems, although I am keenly aware that there is a level crossing right next to this intersection, so that might be problematic is the word I'm going to choose to use right there. In fact, I think it's potentially so problematic that I might actually be better going in here and redoing just some parts of this road. I think if we did like a 45-degree, maybe a little further up the road, maybe right about there for sort of a 45-degree section. Yes, these are some, well, those are some pretty, those intersections are pretty close together. I don't know that I love that. Let's reconsider. Let's bring it down here. We'll do a regular sort of thing a bit like this. And then we'll do a 45, I suppose. Yeah. Yeah, that'll work. We'll do sort of a 45 right to about there. We'll bring this back. Oh man, I might be making a terrible mistake right here, but we're gonna commit. We're gonna commit is what we're gonna do. We'll bring this guy out. We'll curve it around. We'll try and curve that other bend as well, so we have something a little bit better looking than what we've got going on right now. And hopefully this is the right thing to do. Hopefully this means that traffic will be able to flow out of here without too much issue. In fact, I've just realized I'm a bit of an idiot. Let's get rid of that road completely because we just don't really need it. And instead we'll upgrade this one because it already exists. And I think that makes a bit more sense. In fact, this one could probably have more lanes. This could probably have a few more lanes as well. And this guy, this road goes the entire way around Mullingar, so we might as well upgrade it as well, just for a little bit of future proofing. I think maybe that could stay as 2 lanes and that'll be okay. I'd also like to make sure that road ownership is very much with me. So I don't want anything building on this road out here or this road down here. I don't want anything attaching to this guy either, but I don't mind them building in here. I don't mind them building in here. That should be totally fine. And hopefully, like I said, that ends up being a nice sort of addition to things. I've also totally realized I could just go straight off of here and connect up to that road as well, which really might not be a bad idea. That might actually be a really good idea. So let's say I was to sort of go this way with things. I could connect down to that intersection, but I actually think it would be better to connect to that road. I think that just makes a bit more sense to have them a little bit further apart. So we'll do something like this. We'll hit it with a smoothing brush just to tidy it up a little bit, and we'll hope for the best with that. That might be unnecessary. It might be a little bit much, but it should get people both in and out of Mullingar, and that's what I want. I want people using this road, which they're absolutely doing, and I want it to take traffic away from this road, which it hasn't done yet. And so that brings us back down to Dublin. I want to do a couple of things here because first and foremost, one of the changes, or 2 of the changes that I made between this episode and the last, is this little coastal road that connects Dundalk to Dublin. Obviously we have a main road in here that does that as well, but this one takes a little bit of the traffic away. We also have another road that connects Dublin all the way down to Waterford, which gets a little bit of use as well, which is fantastic. But we have way too many people, number 1, trying to use this road, and number 2, waiting for a bus to get around to Mullingar. So I want to try and tidy Dublin up a little bit, which is unfortunately going to mean that I need to get rid of some little roads down here, which is not going to be great. It is going to get rid of quite a few buildings here and there, but I think this is for the best. I do think this is for the best, to just try and make this place a little bit neater, a little bit tidier, and a little bit easier to navigate. So what I'd like to do, even though this is going to get rid of a bunch of buildings, is go and do something like this, where we have a much bigger road going straight through the heart of Dublin. I want to take this road away completely, and I would like to upgrade maybe that road right about there, and some way, somehow go like this. And I'm kind of okay with that as a connection, because it means you can loop right around and head straight down to Waterford on what is a relatively main road. I would like to take this all out of here because it's a little bit messy. And truth be told, I think this road can go as well because, again, it's a little bit messy and I don't necessarily love it. In fact, I think I'm kind of okay with opening up that entire space because, to be completely honest with you, I sort of want to put a main bus station in here anyway. So if we get rid of these buildings and I was to bulldoze this set of bus stops, the game freaks out for a second, but it's just going to be a second because essentially I can go in here and say, you know, give me a little stretch of road right about there, which is unfortunately an intersection close to another intersection, but that's all right. We'll put it right about there. We'll get ourselves a bus and tram station. We'll go for slightly longer platforms, and I want to do 3 on the right, none on the left, because I want to keep that building. And can I get 30 meters? I totally can, actually, which is great. That should be more than enough, and that should keep us pretty good. So essentially what I want to do, as we've kind of done, is move the Dublin loops into this space. And if we look at this guy, we'll say loop 1, platform 1, loop 2, platform 2, Mullingar to Dublin, platform 3. That is admittedly probably going to create a bit of a nightmare at this intersection. And now that I think about it, I kind of need, I need more platforms because I want to put a new bus line in here. I want a bus line that goes from Belfast to Dundalk to Dublin to Waterford. I want that entire run down the East Coast, and it's gonna need more. It's gonna need more than this is what it's gonna need. So we're gonna configure this guy, and we're gonna say I want platforms on this side. I want another platform on this side, and that should be enough. I would imagine that's gonna be enough. Maybe some little buildings in here just to sort of detail this guy a little bit. Nice big building up there, a couple little buildings like this. Again, bit of detailing, never hurt anybody. Hopefully other buildings pop up around this thing, but that should be more than enough for Dublin. And I'm also thinking, oh wow, all those people standing there, they were all at the bus stop. I'm also thinking we can go in here and turn off traffic lights at this intersection. I'm hopeful that's not going to be the end of the world. I think we'll turn them off here as well, turn them off here and here. And maybe not there because that's quite a main road. This one can go away as well. And hopefully that'll be all right. Hopefully we can, you know, have a level of control in Dublin that doesn't need that many traffic lights. Oh, and I also want to make sure that this road here is owned by me. I don't want anything else attaching to this road because I think that would be a terrible idea. So much so that I'm kind of considering giving this some extra lanes just to see if that maybe helps with traffic a little bit. I'm not sure that it will, but I'm hopeful, man. I'm hopeful that it'll do something for us. If we look at my lanes or my lines, they're doing what they do, I guess. We'll see if that ended up being a good idea or not. I honestly don't know. I don't know if we need more lanes the entire way through Dublin. We'll see what happens. Before we get this all set up, though, I need to come up to Dundalk and I need to do exactly the same thing again. I need a central location that I can put some kind of bus station. I'm sort of thinking right here, but this means getting rid of a lot of this industry, which I don't love the idea of doing. But I do think, I mean, for one, I think we could do 2 loops around Dundalk. So if we did 2 platforms on the left, 2 on the right, and stuck it right about there, that is about as central as we can possibly get. That is probably going to cause some traffic problems, but that's all right. We'll upgrade these guys to have a few more lanes to accommodate for the extra traffic in here. And we'll see if that works. As for Belfast, it only needs 1 platform, and when it comes to good old Waterford down here, it's a bit of a mess. No offense to Waterford, it's just a bit of a mess down here right now. I think in terms of a central-ish station, we will just go for, we'll do 2 platforms on the left, 1 on the right, and the one on the right will be the one for this line that's coming down here. We'll do the station right about there, and that should be totally fine. So let's go ahead and get this line set up. We're going from Upper Belfast down into Dundalk. We are going to be continuing from Dundalk down to Dublin, which let me actually make sure that these are all set up on the right platforms. For this line coming in, let's have it come in and go to the 4th platform, I suppose. That'll be fine. It is going to come into Dublin and it is going to go to the 1st platform, and I guess that's fine as well. It then goes all the way down to Waterford and it's going to platform 3, which is perfect. It cuts back up towards Dublin and it's going to be going to whatever other platform we had there, which is number 2. So that is correct. And then back up to Dundalk. And it's going to platform, what was it, 4? So it's going to 3 this time. And then it heads back to Belfast and starts the whole thing around. So this will be road passengers. We're just going to call this, we'll call it a Belfast line to keep it simple. And we're going to just call it East Coast is what we're going to call it. We'll also paint this thing, let's go for dark green. Actually, no, that's going to be confusing for Dublin. Let's go for sort of a foresty green. Yeah. I like that color. That seems pretty good. And surprising absolutely nobody, we're going for this vehicle right here. I'm going to buy 25 of them. Actually, you know what? I am not going to buy 25 of them. I am going to buy 8 of them. And there's a reason I'm doing this. We're buying 8 of them here in Belfast. We're painting them that forest green color. And we are putting them on the road passengers, wherever it is, the road passengers Belfast East Coast line in Belfast. And the reason I'm doing this is because we can then come down to Dundalk Road Depot. We're going to buy another 8 of these, not 81. That's no, 8 of these vehicles. We're going to paint them that same sort of foresty green color and put them on the line here. This way the vehicles are spread out a little bit and hopefully the line gets up and running a little bit quicker than it otherwise would. Do we have a road depot near Dublin? We have one in Mullingar, which is fine. So let me buy another 8 of these guys here and we'll get another 8 in Limerick and send them out and we'll hope for the best. And while those vehicles come in right here, because I said I was going to do it, let's put some loops, let's put some bus stops into Dundalk itself. We'll have them sort of loop down towards the water. We'll have them sort of loop down this way. We'll have them come down to here as well. And that'll be one. The other is going to go in sort of this general direction, which is totally fine. It can go up to about there and that should be all right. And I don't think we need it to stop on the main road. I think we'll manage without that. So we'll go to new line. We want to go Dundalk and want to make sure it is on platform number 1 to start with. It is going to be going up and around this way, which apparently I missed one of the stops, which is this one up here. I want to mention as well, in one of the cuts in this video, I did change the autosave interval to 15 minutes now, and it's still doing it. This series has become less about Transport Fever and more Dylan versus the autosave. That's the entire point of the, by the way, that's my name in case you, I don't, it used to be in the channel name and it's in like a lot of video descriptions. It's not a secret. It's just, yeah, the ConflictNerd was the name. I picked the name ConflictNerd like almost 13 years ago and it, there's a whole story behind it that it's a really dumb story. And I guess we'll get into it. I don't know how I got into this, but whatever. Dundalk Road Passengers loop number 1 is what we're gonna go for on that. Dundalk, does it have a color? I don't know if it does. I think it's orange, right, for Dundalk? That looks about right. The long and short of the ConflictNerd thing, by the way, is I was talking to an old friend who was once a YouTuber themselves many years ago. This is probably going back almost. This is an old friend that I met during a competition called King of the Web. This is going back probably to 2010, I think. And we had this conversation of, and it was this weird conversation of like, what would you call a superhero? I've told this story before. If you've heard it before, then, you know, deal with it. It was, what would you call a superhero whose super ability was being a nerd? Essentially, that was the premise. Like, what would you call that superhero? And it was it wasn't ConflictNerd. That's not what we come up with. The first thing we come up with was like War Geek, and that was what I tried to name this channel originally. And this was back in the day when YouTube channels, I don't remember if you could have a channel with the same name as someone else, or if I look and it was like, I don't remember if it warned you. It was like, oh, someone else already has this username. I don't remember if that was how it worked or if I looked it up and someone already had a channel called War Geek and it was some like historical thing. Just to be clear, I think ConflictNerd is a terrible name for this channel because we don't play like competitive games. We don't talk about like conflicts. War Geek would have been worse. But the reason ConflictNerd came about is because the other part of that conversation about what would a superhero whose super ability is being a nerd be called, we came up with the ConflictNerd as the arch nemesis to the War Geek. So that's where ConflictNerd came from. The ConflictNerd is the arch nemesis to the War Geek. That's why in a lot of the original videos, I didn't refer to myself as Conflict or ConflictNerd. It was I am the ConflictNerd. It was, you know, it's what was the old intro? It was like, ladies and gentlemen, I am the ConflictNerd, and this is blah 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 blah. I haven't said that in a very long time. But even that intro, this is a complete tangent, by the way, but I haven't had a proper ramble in a while. That intro was a total ripoff of another YouTuber that's sadly no longer with us and breaks my heart every time I think about it because I wonder what gaming would be like if he still was. It was a total ripoff of Total Biscuit. And his, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Total Biscuit and I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is whatever game it was. I remember his intro to that series to this day, and every single time there's interesting news in gaming or controversy in gaming, to this day, I think it's been about 5 years since he passed. And to this day, every time something comes up in gaming, I think, man, I would love to know what Total Biscuit thinks of this. And yeah, that's where like those early intros came from. That's where my original series trying to like talk about video games in detail and critique them came from. It was trying to be like Total Biscuit, and that's where like my obsession over like audio quality came from back in the day, was trying to sound, not do his voice, but audio quality wise, there was no one better. Because the dude was in radio, right? He used to do World of Warcraft radio. Anyway, that's all besides the point. I don't know how we get onto this topic. Let's do some more stuff in Transport Fever 2. Because here's the cool thing. We now have a decent capacity for people at this station in Dublin. We have buildings popping up around this station as well, which I love to see. We have people waiting to get on to both the Dublin loops and also the Belfast East Coast line, which I'm very, very happy about. I would like to go in here with some trees though, just to hide some of my crimes a little bit, because we have some empty spaces in there that I think could look a little bit better if I just do basically that. We'll also do the same thing in between all of those buildings as well, just to hide all of those empty spaces too, and make Dublin look a little bit more, I don't know, leafy, I guess is the way we'll refer to Dublin right there. I think that looks pretty solid actually. Although while we're on the topic of Dublin and things being pretty solid, there is a solid number of people waiting to go to Mullingar. So let me just duplicate all the vehicles in this line. So we now have a capacity of about 100 people going over to Mullingar. I want to look down at Kilkenny because we have kind of the same thing going on here, which is not exactly ideal. I'm actually thinking it probably wouldn't be the worst idea in the world to give Kilkenny its own little bus station in here, because it is getting a little bit busy. So let's do a platform on each side of this guy. That has automatically updated, which is perfect. So we have the Kilkenny loop coming in here. We have the other line coming in here. Let me go to that other line. There's a good number of people waiting. So again, we're just going to duplicate the number of vehicles on that line, and that should keep us pretty good. And then if we look over at Galway, we already have a station in here, which is beautiful, but there's a ton of people wanting to go from Galway to Mullingar. So we'll duplicate the number of vehicles there. And Castlebar is very much the same story. So when it comes to Castlebar, what way do I want to deal with this? I'm kind of thinking we try and just get ourselves another little station in here. So if we get rid of you and we do, I think that actually had 2 stops on it. So we'll do 2 on the right, 1 on the left. We'll do something like this, which I don't love doing, but that's okay. Oh, Castle Bar only has 1 loop in there. Okay. In that case, let me get rid of the extra platform because we don't really need it. Let me do a building down at the end because I do want it. And that should be all right. That'll sort of move everyone into that space. It'll move the traffic off of this road. And I think, honestly, that road could probably do with a little bit of an upgrade just to handle whatever extra traffic we might be generating down here. I think we'll also just sort of hide our crimes here. Some buildings will pop up around it, but just for now, we'll do a bunch of trees in there to hide the fact that there's nothing on this lot. And I suppose we can also, that was the wrong line, we can also duplicate the number of vehicles on the Mullingar Castle Bar line so that we have a ton of capacity there as well. And hopefully that's going to help here in Mullingar itself, because there are hundreds of people waiting to go out of the city right now to those other towns and cities. So here's hoping for some good things from this guy. Looking over this way, we now have way less traffic on this road, which is fantastic news. We have a decent bit of traffic on this road, which is honestly okay. That's kind of what we were expecting. We don't have any major tailbacks, which is very good news. We do have a ton of people in here waiting to go to and from Belfast, which is fine. And looking at Belfast itself, we have a bunch of people waiting to go to the airport, actually, which is very exciting. Hold on a minute. We have 20 people stood around here. We have 8 arriving from London. We have 15 going out on that plane right there. Not bad. That's actually very, very cool. I wasn't expecting it. Is this line making money? It is actually. It's making a little bit of money. That's very cool. I wasn't expecting it to. I wasn't expecting that line to be making money, but I'm very, very happy about that. I'm also very, very concerned about the number of just things sitting in here. I'd love to move more bricks, but I don't know that we have the. I don't know that we have the capacity to do that. I just don't. I also don't know why you're sitting there. What are you actually waiting on right now? Oh, is it this guy coming in and crossing over, or what's going on? Okay. I have no idea. No idea why that's, oh, it was waiting on this guy. I don't know. I don't really know why it was waiting there, but you know what? It's probably fine. So in other news, there are some other optimizations and changes that I would like to make around here. First things first, we have this oil well. If we look at the consumers, we are shipping about 50% of what this thing is producing because these trucks are just not good enough, essentially. So I'm going to go in here and, man, I don't want to put 88, I don't want 88 vehicles in this line. I'm going to bring us up to 50 to begin with, and I'm going to keep just adding 5 until we get a rate of 800 on this line, because that's what we need. And essentially, my goal here is that going to be 787. Man, that's so, it's so close. It's not 88 vehicles. It is 76 vehicles. No, I guess not. 77 vehicles. Is that going to be enough? 801. Yeah, 77 vehicles. That's a little bit much, but that will start moving every bit of oil that this guy can produce, which is fine. By the way, actually, just on the topic, oh my God. Well, I found our oil problem. So this was another thing that I changed. Basically, there's a little backcountry road here that's having issues. So I'm gonna just upgrade that a little bit. I think give a few more lanes and hope for the best there. This is all a bit of a problem as well, which I don't necessarily love. I think a roundabout in here would be a really good idea, but before we do that, I am going to go in, and this guy will have a production capacity of 400. So let me just make sure that this line, the oil to plastic line, has a rate of 400 before I go and start tearing up some roads. So we'll put an extra couple of vehicles on there. And then the plastic production line, which is up this way, will eventually be able to make 400 plastic. So plastic to goods needs a rate of about 400 as well. We'll put 2 more vehicles on there and probably 2 more again. Brings us up to 407, which is all right. And then it's plastic and steel. We have a ton of steel in here. We have a ton of steel sitting around as well. This guy is producing about 400, which is to be expected. This has a rate of 223. Let's just duplicate that. And let me just grab 2 vehicles to get rid of, because that should bring us down to about 400. And then when we fix the traffic problems, we should end up in a spot where essentially we're good to go. Essentially, the oil situation should sort itself out. So sell 2 of those. That'll bring us down, I think, to about 400. 402 is perfect. Yeah, let's come down here. Let's figure this out. So having 2 lanes here, I think, is part of the solution. I think another part of it is figuring out this traffic. So what I'm going to do is bring this road right back, and I'm going to bring this road right back as well. And then what I'd like to do is come into this space, and essentially I'm going to go 50 meters. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to flatten this out is what we're going to do. We're going to flatten this out, just plain and simple the entire way around. I'm carving out some mountains, but that's all right. I just need a nice flat area to work with. And then, like I said, plain and simple, right in the middle, about 50 meters that way, about 50 meters that way. And while this is certainly a bit more messy than what we had before, it should eventually work and give us something that lets the traffic get around here without too much issue. In fact, I think it would probably make sense to go in here and just give this an extra few lanes coming in here. I think that's probably for the best. So we'll go ahead and do something like this for this section. We can do a few more lanes. Man, that looks... it's not a flattering bit of construction that I'm doing here, is it? It's really not great, but it's probably fine. That looks ridiculous. It looks absolutely ridiculous, and I hate it, but it should, and that's kind of the key word here. It should solve some problems that we're having. I also want to just make this, I don't know. there's no saving this, man. It's not a good look that we've got going on, but it should be fine. Let me go ahead and just upgrade these guys to have 3 lanes the entire way around, and that eventually should solve this entire traffic problem. Should being very much the key word right there. And it should also mean that I can eventually get rid of a bunch of the vehicles that I just put onto the crude oil to oil line. And I guess it also means that I should be able to move a few more goods over to somewhere like Dublin. So we'll pin this tab up here. We'll have a look at what Dublin wants, and it wants 66 goods. The line currently has a rate of 23. So we'll select those vehicles. We will duplicate to bring us to 46. We'll duplicate again to bring us to 69, which is great. And we'll do the same thing for Dundalk, which wants, how many? We're wanting 46 in Dundalk. We have 46 on the rate. Let me get one more vehicle in there just to future-proof things a little bit. Looking at Galway, they want 189, which is ridiculous, but we can absolutely go ahead and put 5 more vehicles in here for a healthy bit of future-proofing in there, and that should keep us pretty good. And then Mullingar wants 264. We have 231. Let's do another 2 vehicles in that line and see what it brings us up to. That is 289. A little bit of future-proofing in there as well. Don't mind if I do. Okay, this intersection really isn't as efficient as I would like it to be. We are still seeing tailbacks, and part of that is because there's no traffic lights, and another part of that is because it's just a bit of a mess. So I'm going to go in. I'm going to take this road out of here for a second, and I'm going to change this guy a little bit because I'd like to get my hands on a few extra lanes going up here because I do think that's going to help us out. So this is going to come up this way. And we'll do a little something like this, which I think will be fine. If anything, this guy could probably have 3 lanes. I might be able to get away with that, although it is going to cause, maybe not. We'll see how this goes. We'll see if that works out. I do think having the few extra lanes there is going to be for the best. I'm also going to bring this right back to there, and I'm going to redo some of this road while we're here. So this is... Well, actually, we're going to level this out is what we're going to do, because I think we can make this slightly more efficient, and that is something I would like to try and do here. So we're going to bring this all back, and we're going to bring this guy out of here as well, which is going to disconnect things, obviously, but it should be okay if we go right back to about there and right back to about there. I want to make this as level as I can possibly get it, because we're going to put 2 truck stops in here is what we're going to do. So this is going to come out this way. This guy is going to come out sort of this way. And then my thinking is very, very simply 2 truck stations, platform on each side. In fact, could I get away with 2 platforms on the right and none on the left and just bring this guy right up to the building? Or maybe the other way around, a little something like this might look better. And I do think that does look better. So then we have the opposite on the other side. We'll do something like this. And that seems all right. I think we can take out these sections of road. I think we can maybe just bring these straight out to about there and sort of curve it around to that existing part of the road. So from here to there looks pretty good as far as I'm concerned. And then this guy can sort of run in a bit of a straight line, and then we're just going to curve it down to about there. And I think that looks good as well. So naturally, we'll smooth it out to hide any crimes that have occurred in the making of all of this. And then what I need to do is move the crude oil to oil line to here, move the oil to plastic line over to here, and everything should be good. So essentially, we manage this line. We go and say, instead of Galway East, you're going to this guy. And then we take out Galway East is what we do. So this is crude oil to oil. You are unloading everything there. You are using both platforms to do it. And I have got this line set up to pick up from both platforms already. So that is completely fine. Gives us a slightly higher rate as well. And then the oil to plastic is going to be from here, Galway sidings, using both platforms instead of Galway East, which should be totally fine. And that is hopefully going to be a little bit more efficient than what we had going on here already. Hopefully. It's a very big hopefully. Either way, naturally, it's me. We're putting some trees around this to make it look a little bit more interesting, I guess, is going to be my excuse this time. I don't know. I just like trees, man. I do. I like a good forest around a factory. It just has a kind of a cool look to it. So something like this, I think, is totally fine. Bring it out towards the tracks a little bit like this. Bring it down towards this guy so it kind of blends together. Bring it out this way so it looks a little bit more natural. Bring it up this road so it kind of blends together. And I think that's totally fine. That should be pretty efficient as far as I'm concerned. Should be being the key word there, but we'll see. We will absolutely see what ends up happening. At the very least, I'm hopeful that this change is going to be so much better for traffic down here. So much so that I'm hoping I can go ahead and turn off the traffic lights again. I'm really hoping we can manage without the traffic lights. And wouldn't you know, it's worked pretty much instantly. I mean, yes, there's a bit of a traffic nightmare at the intersection, but we don't have a tailback in any direction now, which is absolutely perfect and exactly what we were looking for. So if I look at this line now, it has a rate of 820. That is probably going to increase as things get figured out. This guy has a rate of 315. I think that's because traffic around this way is a little bit rough in a few places, but we will figure that out. As long as we still have some plastic production, I think we'll be all right. It might just take a minute for the efficiencies to kind of, you know, get picked up a little bit, but we'll get there is what we'll do. We'll absolutely get there. All right, so we have made a bunch of improvements to infrastructure around Ireland today, and in doing so, I've come to realize that basically we're reaching the point of the game where I might want to consider speeding up time progression a little bit to try and unlock more things a little bit more quickly, because I think we need bigger buses. I think we need bigger trucks. And I'm also thinking I might want to start looking at more train infrastructure, because not only are there hundreds of people wanting to go from Mullingar to Galway, Dublin and Castlebar, there are also hundreds of people wanting to go from Dublin to Mullingar and also up to Dundalk and Belfast and down to Waterford. So having an East Coast train line might be better than what I've done with these buses. Not that the buses are bad. The buses are doing great. They're making money. They're profitable. It's whatever. But with the amount of traffic on the roads, I think we're reaching the era where we might want to go all in on trains until we end up with road vehicles that can move way more cargo and way more people. However, in other news, in successful news, my plane line is running full occasionally. Not all the time, but there have been times where we've had 60 out of a possible 60 people on the line going from Belfast to London or from London to Belfast, and that makes me very happy. And also, it is a relatively profitable line as well. So I think what I'm going to do, just because I can, is put another 2 vehicles on that. I don't know if that's going to be profitable, but moving 90 people seems better than moving 60. So we'll see what happens. But that, as they say, is that. That's going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.